Today is a special day. Today is the 10-year anniversary of StarCraft 2, the game as of the 27th of July 2020. It's exactly 1 decade old. And while it does feel a little bit crazy to wish a happy birthday to literally a product, literally a video game, I'm not gonna lie, man, it does feel like a special occasion because I certainly did not expect this game to take me in a direction that it has, you know, when I picked it up like a decade ago at this point. Pretty ridiculous. I think I actually bought it a little bit before the 27th of July because I was part of the beta of Wings of Liberty. And if I'm not mistaken, I ended up like pre-ordering the game back when, like, you know, pre-ordering was still socially acceptable. I remember pre-ordering the game because it would give me access to the Wings of Liberty beta. Regardless, I figured today let's celebrate with one of the greatest games of Terran versus Zerg that I have ever seen. I watched this game live during DreamHack Summer. I was actually lying on the couch, kind of like poking my phone, probably scrolling through Instagram or something like that. And then about halfway through the game, I started paying attention because I realized, wait a second, this game, this match right here on Golden Wall is absolutely ridiculous. Now, also fun fact, both of the players in this particular match, they were both 8 years old when StarCraft 2 came out. This right here makes me feel old, okay? Because I was in school back when this game came out, but yeah, I certainly wasn't in elementary school. Regardless, spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map Golden Wall, playing with the red Terran SCVs from France and playing for Team Liquid, we're looking inside of the main base of Clem. His opponent on the right-hand side, in the bottom right-hand corner, playing with the blue Zerg drones from Italy, an absolute channel favorite, and he goes by the name of Reynor. Obviously, as you can see right there with his nickname, he is playing for Team Clash. Alrighty, so a good old Zerg versus Terran. These guys, they have faced off against each other many times before. There's a massive rivalry between these two players because, I mean, when it comes to pro gaming, right, when it comes to playing at this high of a level, there's only so many people that can actually, like, participate at that skill level. It just takes a very long time to reach it. And, well, both of these guys, they came up right around the same time and they've been playing for just about as long as well. I don't actually think they started playing, though, at the age of 8, right? I don't really know exactly when they decided to first pick up SC2. I believe Reynor mentioned that he picked up the game together with his dad, and then shortly after, you know, they bought the game, he started beating his dad. I guess that never changed. It's actually pretty cool. I remember I met them both for the very first time at, I believe this was in Barcelona, for one of the WESG finals. I think it was the WESG European finals. And both of them, obviously not being, you know, of age to, like, travel yet, you know, by themselves, they actually came there with their parents, which is, yeah, just so sick. Like, the fact that their parents also obviously helped out in that regard, right? They obviously were willing to travel around the world to actually, you know, participate in tournaments. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyways, completely unrelated to that, to this game at the very least, let us have a look right here at the build orders that both players are going for. So it's going to be the standard 1-1-1 right here for Clem. 1 barracks into a factory into a starport. Now, like I said, both of these guys, they face off against each other regularly, so they're very familiar with each other's playstyle. Neither of them really plays something that is out of the ordinary or very weird. Both of them just very well known for playing that macro-focused game. So, Clem looking to probably deal a little bit of damage here in the early game, but you don't really want to dive too deep with those Hellions and with that Reaper, because if you accidentally end up losing them, the Zerg's creep spread is going to get absolutely out of control. Third base here was taken just a little bit ago. This will be confirmed right now as well by Clem. You need to know whether or not there's a third base, because otherwise maybe Zerg has decided to go for like a 2-base Muta play, or maybe even like a really quick Roach Warren with a second or even a third Gas Geyser. Seeing the third base allows you to narrow down the options that the Zerg player is going for just a little bit easier. Now, it was a quick Overlord speed upgrade here as well for Reynor. Sadly for him, though, it is going to be that quick Viking here as well before going for an actual harassment unit that can attack the mineral line a little bit easier. I mean, technically speaking, I guess Vikings can attack mineral lines as well. They can land, of course, but I think the Liberator is going to be quite a little bit better at exactly that. Reynor still got to send in another Overlord. I guess he wants to see the timing maybe of like a third command center. He could just check this with the Zergling at the front, or maybe he wants to see if it's going to be a mech or a bio transition. Every once in a while, the Terran players will decide to go for like additional barracks before, or additional factories, I suppose, but before throwing up the third command center. In this particular case, this scout timing comes in at the perfect moment. he can see exactly what the plan right here for the young Frenchman is going to be. Now, Clem has been on fire recently. I mean, I'm assuming here at the very least that everyone knows that Reynor is on fire. As of me making a video, he's still considered to be the highest ranked player on Aligalek. The guy is ridiculously good, and he really, like, he joined the StarCraft 2 pro gaming scene, and he immediately was one of the very best. At the very least, that's kind of what it felt like. Now, very, very risky move out right here by Clem. He does get a nice surround right there, or rather a nice line of fire on all those Zerglings. Still though, the Queen's constantly throwing those spines at those Hellions. Yeah, they're not going to be able to, you know, kill them that easily, but I don't think that this is going to be too much damage, really, all things considered. At the same time, Liberator in the main base was also deflected by a couple of Queens there, as well as a Spore Crawler. Now, Clem, I mean, he hasn't really spiked as hard as, like, for example, someone like Reynor has. You know what I mean? He hasn't really, like, immediately peaked right when he joined the pro gaming scene. This guy, instead, has slowly been getting better and better and better. And at the very least, at DreamHack Summer, he genuinely looked like one of the best players on the planet. This guy is looking ridiculous. So on Aligalek right now, he's considered to be the number 14 in the world. But he's steadily improving, and he doesn't really slow down, if that makes any sense. You know, like there's a lot of players that join the professional gaming scene, and they peak really, really quickly. So they seem to be one of the very best right away. And then there's players like Clem that steadily improve over time. And, well, I mean, judging by the fact that he's 18 years old, right? He should not be slowing down anytime soon. I would not be surprised if he's just going to keep going at it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to turn out to be one of the greatest players, especially in just maybe a year, maybe a couple of months from now. Just mark my words, okay? Maybe I'm wrong, but he's looking really, really strong. Regardless, here we go. A little bit of a bailing drop. Okay, so I guess since he got himself the Overlord speed quite early, he's decided to go for the Evolution Chamber upgrade right now. Already finished up the +1 Carapace. He's actually got the Hydra Den and then also the Infestation Pit coming up. So I think that this is going to be the Lurker opener here from Reynor. But since he decided to go for the Overlord speed early, he's decided as well, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and send an Overlord full of Banelings to watch my opponent's mineral line. Now, at this point, Clem doesn't really know what's in there, but it has been spotted. Liberator's not that great at anti-air. Viking quite a bit better at that, and, well, here we go. The big revelation. He's gonna see that the Banelings were indeed inside of that Overlord. Now, I like this little move, actually, quite a bit by Clem, though. Just simply patrolling the bottom section of the map. There's a big move out at the same time right now. Moving to the edge of the creep. Very, very nice little Janitor crew right over here. Cleans up all of that nasty creep that the Zerg is trying to goop the map up with. Still, though, he's got to be careful. Yeah, one of the things actually currently on siege. A couple of Banelings now done with their Baneling speed, their roly-poly upgrade as well. They're going to be able to now attack these Marines a little bit easier. Good target firing there by the Frenchman. Look at this. These move-outs, man. I love that. You know how many Terran players, even at the pro level, would have just picked up those Marines and got out of there? He's like, no, I'm just going to stand my ground, kill a couple of those Banelings, and, you know, just micro against it. Liberator, though, does fall inside of the natural hero of the Zerg player. And while it's not a huge deal, it just shows what Liquid Clem right here is capable of. Now look at that. Here's the Lurker Den. So this is one of the strategies that Reynor has been playing recently. He's got the Hive coming up right now and a really, really quick Lurker Den. We're only 8.5 minutes into the game and those two structures are basically already done, right? So what he's been doing lately, he's been going for Hydra Lurker, Ling, Bane, Viper. And I know that sounds like half the Zerg units out there, but it really does work. So he opens up with the Ling, Bane, Hydra style that we have seen for many, many years. And then he adds on, rather than really quick +2/+2 upgrades, he adds on the Hive and the Lurker Den first. That way it can get Vipers out, but also those very, very important Lurker upgrades. So both the Lurker upgrades as well as the Vipers, you require Hive Tech for exactly those. So yeah, getting those two upgrades is absolutely amazing because when you have both of them, right? So one of them is called right here the Seismic Spines, and then the other one, I don't know what it's called. It's like the Burrow upgrade. Basically, it allows you to use those Lurkers offensively so much easier. So when you don't have those two upgrades done, leaving the creep is very difficult. Yeah, when you finish both of them up, things are a little bit better. Now, a nice little bit of harassment here. There's still this Overlord constantly being moved around. Look at that. Very, very impressive here by Clem. Once again, attempted Baneling drop. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. In the meantime, 4th base right here acquired as well on the left-hand side of the map. He's now also once more moving forward. Now, I like the Lurker choice here quite a bit, because how are you going to push into this? very, very difficult to push into this when you're the Terran player, and that trade right there was certainly not that great. Lurkers, there you go. They finished up their first upgrade, so their range is quite a bit better right now. And here's the, I guess, the first Viper. No, there's actually already another one as well. Second Viper right now is coming up. A couple of SCVs apparently fell. Don't really know exactly where that happened, but all things considered, I mean, only a handful of workers are going down or have gone down so far in this game. Alrighty. Cheeky, cheeky. Still gets a Hydra kill right there. It's better than nothing. At the same time, though, that small Terran hit squad that we saw in the middle of the map earlier still pushes forward. And here's the heavy drop harass. I really like this from Clem. So, Hydra Lurker, it's very strong at head-on engagements, but it's not nearly as mobile as, say, like Ling Bane Muta, right? Which is also very popular right now for Zerg players. You're just gonna have a much harder time dealing with these drops if you do not have your units in position. Now, obviously, controlling high grounds like that, you're not gonna be able to push up there, Clem. It's just not gonna happen. But he has done a magnificent job so far just simply getting rid of all of the creep in the center of the map. There's a parasitic bomb actually going down as well. Looks like this Medivac over here will stay alive for just a little while longer, but I think the real engagement is over here. There's actually still that one Widowmine scouting out exactly what's going on as well. I don't think that was intentional, but there you go. 6 additional drones end up falling. Oh. The one Spore Crawler is gonna kill that Medivac that was at like 1 health there. And Reynor just scouts ahead right now as well, figures out exactly what this Terran player is doing. It looks like the Terran is just simply setting up shop right outside of this base. Now, this is why you want to add Lurkers into the mix. If you can abduct the siege tanks, you can basically pick them up for free if you position your Lurkers well. Now, this seems like a bit of an ambitious move out right here. Scan does confirm exactly where all of those Lurkers are located. More Lurkers right now coming in from the side. Clem, oof. Looks like he's going to be able to keep most of those Marines and Marauders alive. But they're all very, very red in the hit points. Spire coming up right now as well. And in the meantime, on the side of the Terran player, he's taken the entire left-hand side of the map. And he's just continuously expanding. The fact that he's been mining this gold base for pretty much the entire game so far is absolutely awesome. It just simply allows him to continuously expand a little bit easier as well. You don't need as many workers on that base. At the same time, though, they're still skirmishing right now in the center of the map. Neither player really committing to all too much. Without the creep here, though, this does become a very difficult army to fight into. I actually would love to see Clem just simply continue with the drop play for a little while longer. Ooh, a little bit sloppy right there by Reynor. Doesn't manage to land one of those parasitic bombs right now on the medevac, but here we go. The Zerg army is advancing. He does manage to get quite easily on top of all of those Terran units. One of the siege tanks falls, one in the back though, still dishing out a lot of damage. Obviously, the siege tanks, they do still outrange those Lurkers. +3/+3, just about to finish up as well here for Clem. He's now going for the enhanced shockwaves ability as well. It's going to make those ghosts quite a bit more useful. And that seems to be a good option against Lurkers. So, ghosts are perfectly capable of sniping, of using their steady targeting ability on those Lurkers. So basically what you can do is you can use those Lurkers to, to deal with the Marines and the Marauders and maybe the siege tanks as well. But they have a very hard time dealing with ghosts. Ghosts, for some reason, are surprisingly tanky. Like, they can take a lot of hits from those Lurkers. At the very least, they can get some damage in before they die. And that's, yeah, very, very important. It seems like Lurkers, they don't trade efficiently against Ghosts, is what I'm trying to say. So a couple Ghosts right here, there you go. They can use their steady targeting ability. It does cost a little bit of energy, obviously, but they can use that ability to snipe some of those Zerg units out of the sky, but also out of the ground. 4 Ghosts coming up right now at once. Center base over here is now taken for Clem. That means that basically the entire top section of the map has now been acquired. Top section basically being north of the Golden Wall. Bottom section of the map, though, still quite available. And actually, Reynor right now finally taking his gold expansion as well. He's still trying to force this Terran player to go home. Lurkers right now coming from every single side. The Queens also joining in right now, using their transfuses to prevent those Lurkers from going down straight up against those snipes. Still, though, most of the snipes are still going to be able to be utilized there. 2 of the Ghosts also end up falling, but the Lurkers also die on the side of the Zerg. He really needs to get some creep out again. The fact that the creep is this far back actually really, really hurts the Zerg player here. Obviously, besides being able to get rid of those siege tanks, you can also abduct those medivacs, which is also very nice. Looks like the base actually over here has now also been cancelled. Nice move there by Clem. Once again, slowing down the Zerg player ever so slightly. He's really keeping Clem occupied here. Oh, sorry, Reynor occupied here. If you look right now at the resources lost for both sides, you can see that the Zerg player has lost slightly more. Ooh, nice. Once again, the Banelings. Good splits, actually, once again on those Ghosts. Oh my god, and those snipes are absolutely ridiculous. Getting rid of all of those Lurkers that are currently burrowed underground. And once again, even though that looked like a pretty good fight right there for the Zerg, the Terran player is able to deflect that army. That might be a little bit ambitious. Don't think you can quite morph into Lurkers right at that location. Alrighty, so how many Ghosts are we on right now? We're gonna be up to 14 Ghosts here very, very quickly. There's also now Liberators added into the mix. And here we go. The first base south of the wall will be acquired here by Clem. Since his golden base is running out right now, he doesn't even really necessarily need to mine out the minerals here in the back of the main. He can just simply maneuver into that area through the gold base instead. But it looks like, once again, now that the creep is still not back in this area, Clem is just pushing straight towards the center base here for Reynor. I don't think that one's gonna happen, my man. Hydra Lurker Viper, Ling Bane Corruptor. Oh, he's trying to set up a surround right now. If he can wrap around all of these Terran units, that would absolutely be massive. A couple of the units do manage to evacuate right there inside of the Medivacs. Close call right there, though. Clem almost losing everything there. Does manage to evacuate quite a large army, but he ended up losing quite a bit as well. But that one Widow Mine almost immediately justifies losing a lot of that force. Good Abducts once again gets rid of one of those Liberators. But the Ghost, man, they're just sniping constantly. Still, you never really know exactly how many Lurkers there are. And even though apparently the drop right here inside of the main base was deflected, Clem is still looking mighty powerful so far in this game. Well, I say that, if you look at the banks right now, right? 5,500 resources available for Reynor. And he's obviously pretty much maxed out here as well. Clem, however, he's pretty much broke, and he's not quite maxed out. That is very, very noticeable. One thing I do really, really like right here for the Terran player is the fact that he took that low ground base already, right? The one that leads down right here from the natural. That's huge. So, normally, it's the Zerg player that gets quite a big economical advantage at this point in the game. Terran, while having a couple less workers, obviously still has mules to mine with as well. He's getting an awful lot of resources every single minute that goes by. Once again, the Lurkers trying to get into a good position. Zerglings like threatening the run by there as well. Ghost, though, running so low. Does he have the Ghost cloaking ability? He doesn't. Why does he not have the Ghost cloaking ability? They can cloak. I guess it costs energy, so he doesn't want to waste that. Seems like such a useful upgrade, though, if you have this many Ghosts available. Once again, the gold base here will be cancelled. Beautiful moves right here by Clem. Now, I guess what this Zerg army is, right? It's way more passive. It's really good at defending. If you manage to get into a good spot, it's really good at attacking as well. But you need to get into that good spot first. I don't see the Terran player breaking this anytime soon, but here we go. This is what normally Reynor is very well known for. Well, I mean, I like the idea of attempting a run-by like that, but didn't quite get a whole lot of work done there. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if maybe he tries to go for one of these other bases, although, well, other than the one at the gold, they are all pretty much planetary fortresses. And the one at the gold base, since that one was acquired so early, is now pretty much mined out. Base over here as well. Basically, all of the accessible bases that are worth harassing are now planetary fortresses, which is, yeah, it's still harassable, I suppose, but much, much harder, because you need to commit far more resources into it. So what Clem is trying to achieve right now, he's just trying to force the Zerg player to mine out, right? He wants to take positive traits so he can eventually win in the long run. As long as he takes, you know, plus EV traits, he's gonna be in a good spot. And so far, every single time that these Ghosts trait themselves for a Lurker, it's a good situation to be in. Ooh, did he overstep his welcome, though? I'm not entirely sure. Still a lot of the Banelings. Man, these splits here are absolutely magnificent. Clem doing an awesome job, constantly splitting all these army units. And you know what? That massive bank that we saw from Reynor earlier, right now completely depleted. Very scrappy engagement here. Both players end up losing an awful lot of their stuff. If you look right now at the resources lost, yeah, this Terran army is so very cost efficient. Hydra Lurker Viper is considered to be the most cost efficient unit composition that Zerg can make. Ooh, one Widow Mine. Really? Are we gonna see a Widow Mine drop at the 20-minute mark? Looks like that is the plan. Anyways, Hydra Lurker Viper, the most cost-efficient unit composition that Zerg can make. There's just really not much you can do in the late game against Terran and against Protoss, right? Like, what are you gonna do? You gotta, yeah, once again, an attempted circling run by here, but it's not gonna get anything done. You gotta try and get maximum value in. And just, you know, try and outmine the Terran player, knowing very well you're gonna not be getting very efficient traits. As long as you just mine more stuff than them, you're gonna be in a good spot. Now, finally, he does find a little bit of value. The Italian Zerg, that is. He does find a little bit of value nibbling away at the SCVs that were mining the gold minerals, but only a handful of those remain. Once again, the snipes being utilized right here by Clem. Lining those up absolutely brilliantly, but here we go. Apparently, Reynor wants to try and see if he can set up a huge surround right now. Coming in with all the Zerg units from many of the different angles. Looks like Clem is finding at least a decent position to escape into, but that being said, yeah, he's gonna have to pick up and get on out of there. Corruptor's not fast enough to chase down those boosted Medivacs. And finally, after like a 15-minute engagement, it feels like, Reynor manages to push that army back. He's been in this position a couple of times so far, but last time he was here, I mean, this base over here wasn't taken, and the base south wasn't taken either. If you get into the position, though, say like he manages to like put all of his lurkers over here, right? He's gonna be able to pick up all of those Terra units so very easily. So despite these traits being absolutely horrible for Reynor so far, it just takes one good location for those lurkers to cut off all of the reinforcing Terra units, and at that point he can start bleeding the Terran player out instead. Keep in mind, pretty much all of the production here for the Terran is still inside of the main base. He may have added on, yeah, he's now adding on a couple of barracks over here at the, I guess, like the 5th base. But yeah, it's worth noting because it's very, very easy right now for the Terran player to accidentally be cut off of all of their reinforcements, and it becomes very difficult to continue to playing the game from there. Well, I mean, if you were to draw a vertical line right now, right, through the center of the map on the minimap, the entire left-hand side is now taken by Clem. This is one of the biggest maps in the map pool, and Clem has got all of his side taken. He might even attempt to try and take this base here in just a little bit. Reynor right now recognizing as well that it looks like this game may very well come down to the bases south. South of the wall. It's kind of like a Game of Thrones reference right now, right? We're a Song of Ice and Fire. Anyways, base over here actually in a little bit of trouble. These bases, though, are running dangerously low, right? Look at the base in the top left-hand corner. The one in the center here for Clem. I mean, that's not really going to be harassable either, right? What exactly are you going to do? Reynor right now spending most of his attention trying to go after the base over here. Now, he just found out about the planetary fortress in that location. Couple of these units still hanging out in the top section of the map. Lings and Hydras, though, or Lings and Lurkers, rather. Very, very powerful. They're going to finally be able to harass a little bit, but these structures, they can fly. Lurkers, by the way, they do outrange planetary fortresses, so that is something worth noting. But once again, excellent snipes right there by Clem. Manages to get rid of most of those lurkers and at the very least forces them back. At the same time, Zerglings managed to get on top of the ghosts here. A couple of the Marauders also end up fighting. And, well, they don't live to tell the tale either. So finally a good trade here. That being said, all of the Zerglings right now are pretty much stuck. He ends up losing all of them. What seemed to be a good fight right there for the Zerg player initially. Now all of a sudden was an advantage, I think, there for Clem. That being said, though, I mean, it was minerals for gas, so maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe a couple of infestors added into the mix here would be quite good, although I guess infestors also could just get EMP'd by the amount of ghosts available. Actually, yeah, scratch that. 13 ghosts right now available. I think that infestors are going to be extremely difficult to pull off, and look at that. All these snipes constantly get rid of the lurkers that are burrowed. I like this a lot, by the way. This is one of the very first times where we're seeing Lurker Hydra as the main composition for the Zerg. Or at the very least, Lurkers added into the mix. And right away, Clem is like, I know what to do. I'm just gonna go Ghosts. There we go, by the way. Does have the Ghost upgrade ability available, or the upgrade available. Once again, a massive surround is being set up right now by the Italian Zerg. Ooh, he manages to surround pretty much all of this force. This time around, the Medivacs retreat with no units remaining. And despite him getting the Ghost ability right now, and he's also getting himself a nuke, this is still a little bit dicey, right? I mean, these traits are significantly better for the Zerg, because once again, as soon as this happens, he can go in for the counter-attack. Lurkers, though, spotted there by the Ghosts underground. He needs to get himself some... ooh, there we go. There's a nuke. Actually, huge set of contaminations there as well inside of the main base of the Terran player, trying to slow down some of that Ghost production. I think that the nuke right there got cancelled, but the ghosts are so very valuable. Reynor, that is, he needs to get himself some detection. He constantly right now cannot see the ghosts. So the ghosts can actually get in range right there of the lurkers to just step forward and, well, they can just simply lay down their snipes because the lurkers don't know where to attack. Alright, in a head-on engagement though, the Zerg army certainly is more powerful. Once again, he's setting up a surround once more. The thing is, Clem is never really giving him that head-on engagement, right? Once again though, beautiful parasitic bomb right there gets rid of some of those Terran air units. Once more, ooh, the one medivac there full of units, it gets sniped and Clem is forced to evacuate. Liberator over here picks up 5 drone kills. Right now, actually, it's only a couple of workers at once. A lot of workers have gone down in the grand scheme of things. Another command center actually falls, and I think Reynor is right now smelling blood in the water. He wants to see if he can potentially close out this game right here, right now. If he manages to get on top of that Terran soft underbelly, right? If he can start nibbling away at all of those structures and pick up the Terran reinforcements as they come out, that makes the game so much easier for him to play. Once again, contamination right there on one of the barracks that was producing with a tech lab. It looks like Reynor is going to be forced to go back home. He's trying desperately to throw up some caustic spray there. Some of those corruptor, you know, pukes, I guess. He's trying to throw them up on these command centers, but there's widow mines and then also missile turrets zoning all of those corruptors away. Alright. I actually don't mind the idea right now for Reynor to go back home. If you continue pushing right now, it can become a desperation attempt very, very quickly. I think he might need to try and take the base over here as well. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. So, 26 minutes into this game. Neither player is ahead. Both players are kind of broke, yet both of them have had like 10 bases. Absolutely ridiculous game of StarCraft 2 so far. With the entire top section of the map right now mining out though, the players are gonna have to force their attention to south of the wall. The harassment of the economies does continue. Both players trying to get a little bit of work done. Liberators once again slowing down this economy, but at the same time a huge engagement here in the center of the map. EMPs do go down at least on one of those Vipers. I think the second one may have gotten EMP'd as well. And once again, the Zerg player is pushing back the Terran. He gets a good trade once again, keeps lots of his lurkers alive this time around. Or actually, I thought he kept quite a few of his alive, but yeah, only 2 of them remain right now. That's really nothing to write home about. Those ghosts have been absolutely amazing. Now, I know some of you are wondering at this point, what is the counter in Zerg versus Terran to ghosts? Well, most of the time, honestly, what you do is just Link Bane. Link Bane is absolutely fantastic. Ghosts are great against Vipers. They're good against Lurkers. They're good against Ultras. They're good against Brute Lords. And they're good against Infestors. So, pretty much all of the late game units are being countered right now by the Ghost. However, just good old Link Bane can deal an awful lot of damage to this Terran army right here. I wouldn't even mind seeing an all-out switch right now to just Link Bane. The problem with Link Bane is that if you want to efficiently play it, you need to get like 90 drone income. And at this point, there's just not even enough mineral patches anymore to, you know, have enough income for just that. He needs to go for an efficient late-game army composition right now. So I guess that's why he's sticking around on mostly Hydra Lurker. Both players right now desperately need these bottom center bases. This expansion for Clem starting to run low. This base right here for Reynor, the one right below the main base, also starting to run low. Ooh, Widow Mines so very important right now. Reynor trying to see if he can push through this location, but once again, the ghosts are there. Ooh, big Widow Mine connection, but once again, the ghosts are there to lay down the law on all of those lurkers. Reynor desperately trying to see if we can close the distance towards that planetary fortress. I love the addition of the Widow Mines as well. We've seen a lot of those, by the way, but I haven't really pointed them out at all. The Widow Mines are absolutely phenomenal. How many have gone down at this point? 42, yeah. That's the answer to the life, the universe, and everything. Took millions of years to calculate. I've got it from a good source. Anyways, the Lurkers, yeah, they have a lot of potential. But it feels like if you get into a split map scenario, right? Which is basically where we're at right now. All the minerals at this point are being mined, which is absolutely phenomenal. The Zerg, like, inefficiency is just so apparent, right? So at this point, Terran is looking to see if he can close out this game right here, right now. just by letting the Zerg player mine out their bases. Ooh, once again, brilliant snipes there. Really smart moves here by Clem. I love this. Well done. Tries to now even EMP that Viper all the way in the back. It's difficult to get over into that position. I like the addition right now of adding on missile turrets as well. We do see the abducts right there on some of the ghosts. But I think the last Viper actually just now got sniped. Zerg is desperately scrambling to take control of this position, but with one good surround, he can still obtain the victory here. Still, I love the fact, though, look at this. Clem has a massive army, man. It's all hanging out over there in the back. If you get into a split map scenario, what exactly are you going to do? Well, apparently you're going to try and make a final stand right now as the Zerg player. Terran, though, setting up a preemptive concave there, comes in with all of the Terran units from all angles. And with that, it is Team Liquid's Clem that pushes Reynor to the absolute limit. He forces the game to go into a split map scenario, and from there, he obtains the victory with just simply better trading. Once again, happy birthday to StarCraft 2. I mean, the last 10 years have been awesome. The games are at a higher level right now than they have ever been, which I hope that this game displayed as well. Ridiculously good match here played by both of these pros. I'm looking forward to see where the next 10 years are gonna go. I hope you decide to join me as well. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in the next one.